Hello. Today we're talking about English tenses. English tenses have already been our focus in Instagram, but today I would like to talk about not only teaching English tenses, but also why is it so difficult. And we will analyze some problems of teaching tenses, especially in Ukraine. I'll explain the reasons why it is so difficult to teach the tenses the way we do it, and we will also see the scheme of teaching tenses in Interclass, and during all next week we will be publishing the short fragments that describe how we teach tenses and illustrate it. First of all, how do we usually do it in Ukraine? Usually there are two ways of teaching tenses. Either they are segmented, there is a unit, and in this unit we have one tense, let's say present simple or present continuous, and this tense is practiced, and then after a short or after a longer period of time, kids will be able to go back to it. I don't know whether it works well. With me it always didn't work well, mostly because the kids and the students in general had no scheme in their head. There was no system. So next step or next way of teaching tenses is giving all details at once. If we talk about present continuous, we will be talking about all cases of using present continuous. And the same will happen to each tense. Taking all these moments into consideration, before in Interclass we used this tenses map. It presents all tenses, also it gives the examples, but the most or the biggest focus of this map was the details. So here we gave all the 3 or 4 cases when this or that tense is used. I am sure that at a certain time this scheme works well, and I am also sure that most of you use the same tables, but in general they don't provide a good effect in terms of using tenses. Students usually know the details of all tenses, but they don't use them well. Why? This is a big question, and I think that the main reason is in different verb systems. What is the system that is in a head of any, let's say, Ukrainian or Russian language speaker? We usually have the opposition between делал, сделал, or робив, зробив. Like, I did it, I had done it. But this opposition is totally different from the opposition of the tenses in English. Because the opposition in English will be between the simple and continuous. The English speaker will see the difference in verbs when he talks about the action or about the process. And the same opposition will be seen in the system of perfect as well. We either talk about an activity or we tell about how long this activity was going on. That is why it is so difficult for the Ukrainian native speakers to understand the system of tenses. So, what are we doing? First of all, we have this big map in every class, in every classroom, and also in every kid's portfolio, but we no longer practice all the details. We no longer give all the variants of usage because all these variants are not relevant for the student's brain. What we try to explain at once is the difference between doing something longer as a process or doing something as an activity. And also what we find really rewarding is to talk about something that happened before something. Though perfect can be compared to Ukrainian зробив, it's not the same tense, plus it has the continuous form. So we keep talking about the activity, the process, the result, and the period, and that is how we practice the tenses until they can at least distinguish these steps in the text or in their speaking. Then later, or also like three forms of the verb are important, but you have already seen how we practice them. And finally, what we do is incorporating each tense into the speaking card. Like each speaking card, which has the categories for speaking, will also contain the propositions of speaking. The children will understand why or what they talk about, talking about the event, the simultaneous action, the action that preceded, and the results. We will be always paying their attention to what is going on, and that is how we will be able to discriminate between the tenses. Again, you will see the illustrations of all this on our Instagram. There we will provide you with the speaking cards and with the videos.